Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. It's Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm joined by a very, very special guest, a man with the coolest hair in the fight game, Esteban the Mohawk Rodriguez, BKFC fighter, former MMA fighter as well, doing some absolutely massive things in the bare knuckle boxing world, the fastest growing sport in the world. Incredible fight in his last fight as well. We'll be talking about the past, the present, the future, and not only fighting, but we'll be touching on the mindset that it takes to reach such a high level in one of the toughest sports anywhere in the world, bare knuckle boxing. So, Champ, good morning to you, and thank you so much for coming on the show, my man. It's a pleasure to have you here for sure.
It is an honor, and I greatly appreciate you having me. No doubt about it, baby. We're about to be changing the world.
100%. And like I was saying before, now your hair looks just as cool. In fact, it looks cooler in person even than when you see the fights and when you see the photos and everything. Absolutely brilliant. So I love it, man. I love it. You're rocking that look real good.
Appreciate it.
100%. Yeah, yeah. So obviously, coming off your last fight, it was incredible. I mean, I contacted you, I think, right after the fight, didn't I? So you've had a little bit of time to reflect on it, a little bit of time to think back on that. Can you share with us some of your key memories of how that all went down and what you enjoyed most about it, please?
Man, it was spectacular, man. It was an epic moment for me. It was one of those key moments where I got to reach that full potential of an audience. You know what I mean? We had a sold out show that time. There was like 3 million watching on YouTube alone. There was like almost 8,000, or about almost 10,000 actually. I think it was like 8,500 around there in attendance. And it was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life to be able to perform on a high level like that in front of those millions of people, and being able to showcase my warrior spirit and be able to perform for the people. It has just been a mind blowing experience and a dream come true.
Absolutely incredible on the big stage. You know, the fastest growing sport in the world, the fastest growing combat sport in the world, bare knuckle boxing, the biggest
Man,
promotion.
it is extreme, baby. Is the extremest, rawest sport that a human being can reach, man.
Absolutely, 100% pure. I mean, it is fighting, it is violence with no frills, no, no politics, no nothing, just the best fighting, the best pure back to ancient times, I think, back to the pure form of fighting from ancient times. Oh, before we go any
Right.
further, I also want to give a quick shout out to your manager, Mayra, as well. I think I'm saying that right, Mayra.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
speaking to her and I forgot in the intro. So, Mayra, thank you for your help setting up this interview today. Quick shout out. I
She's the
forgot
one
to
that makes
mention.
it go around. Yep, she's the one that makes all of this work, man. If it wasn't for her being able to connect all those dots, I wouldn't be able to focus on what I got to focus on, be able to give people the performance that they always wanted.
Yeah, for sure. Now, another thing with this, I mean, obviously your profile is getting bigger and bigger. And when I spoke to you on Instagram right after the fight, I mean, it sounded like your social media, your phone, your messages were just blowing up with people wanting to get in touch. Share with us a little bit about like some of the responses you've been getting from the fans and from other fighters and everything since this last fight, please.
Man, being a little guy from the off the block, you know what I mean? A little chip off the old block, I always say, I come from nothing, man. You know what I mean? Being always stuffed in the locker a couple times in the high school, middle school. I was bullied coming up. So it's been real difficult to kind of try to get this attention or try to take this in, because I've always been that class clown, you know what I mean? Always kind of been kind of segregated and keep it to myself a bit just for the fact of that bullying and all that. And I found a way to kind of express myself and be able to do something more than myself. And it's brought me to a whole different experience, man. It's like now I feel this is just the beginning, man. This is definitely just the beginning, and I'm ready to showcase something to the world that they've never seen before, and a whole new evolution of fighter, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, and getting better every fight as well. We'll talk about that some more. Yeah, absolutely. Because we will talk about the future, and the future is very bright for you. But before we talk about the future, I want to highlight something you said there. Because, like I said when I contacted you, these interviews, as well as talking about the fights, it's all about giving value to people. Now, you mentioned about bullying and things like that there, and I'd like to get your advice for somebody who's going through, like if there's people watching this, they're going through that situation, they know somebody who's going through that situation, they're struggling, man, they don't know which way to turn, because I know what it's like, what would you say to those people out there who are going through what you went through, basically?
Prove them all wrong, man. Prove them all wrong. I'm out here doing everything that I told the people I was going to do from the beginning. All of those bullies that pushed me to this point to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to be one of the biggest, baddest people out here. Because honestly, shout out to them because they what drove me to be what I am today. I drove and I took all of that anger and I took all of that frustration and I said, you know what? I need to put this somewhere. I need to put it to somewhere, something better than what I'm doing now because what I was doing wasn't getting me anywhere. I was that nobody in the corner that everybody would just laugh at instead of laughing with. And it just, I became a victim of the environment. And when I became that victim of the environment, I said, you know what? I'm tired of this life. I made a decision and said, I want to be something in this world now. I don't want to be that normal person, the average Joe, the average kid. Now I want to be that person that's just a victim of being a bully, and I told myself this is that moment where I got to do something different. That's when I cut my hair into the mohawk, and about almost 20 years now, man. Actually, 2004 is when I got this bad boy, man. When I did that, that's when I was like, you know what? From this point forward, I'm gonna strive to be one of the biggest, baddest people that anybody's ever seen on this planet, and I'm living it now, man. I just been doing the work one day at a time, one day at a time. And I fell off the wagon a few times. I've gone into some deep corners and I bit the barrel. I bit the barrel a few times. And when I got to a point where, COVID hit us all and pushed us to some really dark corners. And I came through that. I pushed through that with being able to find something bigger than myself. You know what I mean? I got a family now, and I said, what am I doing here? I'm leaving. I'm going to leave my family for what? Just because things are getting hard. Then I started thinking to myself, well, diamonds, where do diamonds come from? It's one of the most precious gems on the planet. And it's made and created under pressure, under fire. You don't find it out just laying out on the street. It's under the dirt. You know what I mean? You got to go deep, deep into some holes and work hard to be able to get something like that. And I feel like all that fire has really pushed me into becoming something this world's never seen, into that gem, the hidden gem in the fire. You know what I mean? It's like I was able to really turn all that adversity into something beautiful, man. And now, we're growing into something that I've never even imagined that I was able to be doing. You know what I mean? If you would have asked me before when I was trying to fight my way out the locker, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what's going on? Hey, you think you're gonna be a fighter when you grow up? No, I would have never did. I just made that decision to start working towards something. And when I started doing that, I got results, man. I started praying, and it was a form of meditation, I would say. You know what I mean? I started connecting inside, and I started really making a difference with my train of thought, with my process of thinking. All right, I got to start breaking that oh, everybody's trying to get me mentality, and I got to start getting into that. Oh, I got to start working towards something. This is what I got to start breaking down towards. This is what I got to start working. Once I started finding that path, then I started learning how to start walking. That's when I really started learning how to walk, move forward. And there was setbacks. I got, walked into some bushes still, I got scrapes and bruises. And I learned, you know what I mean? I learned from that mistake and I got right back onto the path and I started walking it again, man. And I started doing that work. And I'm here now, man, on the rise. I'm about to be the future champion of the world, no doubt about it. I've learned the path and the work I got to put in to get there. And I'm living the dream, baby. We out here doing it, man. We're doing it.
Absolutely, you're doing it. I mean, there's some massive fights ahead of you. The future is very, very bright, and it's so exciting that I've caught you at this time in the journey when you're still on the up, man. I mean, we'll definitely catch up again after today when you are on top of the world, and we'll do this all again, and we'll tell this story again from that perspective. But now you're on the rise and everything, absolutely amazing. Now, a couple of other things with this. One other thing with your background, and then we'll jump more into bare knuckle. You started with MMA though, didn't you? You were competing in MMA in the beginning. Can you share with us maybe one or two of what you regard your highlights to be from that phase of your journey? Because even though it's not what you're doing now, it's still part of the journey that made you the man you are today. So I think it's very worthy to talk about as well.
Yeah, man. When I came up into the MMA, when I came up into the fight world, I would say, because I wanted to do football. And then I was going to go to Michigan State University to try to play as a walk on to get a scholarship. And I was like, well, I gotta stay fit. I had some friends doing the MMA thing, and I went in and met up with them, and they're like, hey, you want to try this fighting while you staying in shape for that, football? And I'm like, sure. Turned out to be a 4 second knockout, man. And then from there, it just took on. I was like, wow, I never knew I could do this. You know what I mean? I just tried out. I was scared. I was crapping my pants, man. I was scared, dude. I was butterflies out of my stomach, nerves was kicking in, and I took that jump, that leap to be able to say, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna experience this once. I'm gonna just try it and just give it my best, and that's it. 4 second knockout, man, and then from there it just took off. Knockout after knockout after knockout after knockout. I went 9-1, all knockouts as an amateur. Then I said, you know what? This is that moment. I'm gonna have to make that jump, and I went professional. After I blew my shoulder out though, and I came back and I defended that belt. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to afford the jiu-jitsu training because being a fighter is still a bit pricey just for the fact of the training camps, driving to and from training. So I wasn't able to really get that solid camp in of jiu-jitsu. And that was one of my holes back in the days. And like before, I was just constantly just stand up, pressure, pressure, pressure. And everybody that I've ever punched, I've always been like, I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go to the ground. So then I finally got to that point where it's like, all right, I know everybody's gonna always try to punch me or take me down to the ground as soon as I punch them. So then I had to start really trying to break into that jiu-jitsu. And it was just something I kind of veered away from just because I wasn't able to afford that training. And then I started getting Americana because of my shoulder. And I wasn't able to defend that or learn how to get out of those situations. I was kind of an escape artist, I would say, just trying to survive in there. And took me quite a bit of ways, you know what I mean? Just spent heart and will, but there's a point where you get to where you have to learn the techniques and you have to learn the game. Otherwise, you're going to be the one getting played. And that's when I went out there and I took all my losses from Americanas, unfortunately, and I lost back to back 3 times in a row. I wasn't able to get any fights. And that's when it was like, okay, what's going on here. That's what pushed me to that corner. And I had a I would say career in the MMA besides the jiu-jitsu. All of my fights have been more entertaining after each fight. Because, when I go in there, I try to pull out the best fight for the people. Because I love to go out there and showcase that warrior spirit to the modern warrior, the modern day gladiators. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that Caesar arena kind of feeling sometimes. It's like, I got to that point where it's like, all right, I got to start taking this more serious. But since I wasn't able to get that kind of training, people attack that hole a lot. And then that's what kind of pushed me into not getting any fights because of that. And I wasn't able to get my opportunity to show my true striking. And then that's when I started really, as I said, I started praying. And then I came into the point where bare knuckle came in, man, and that put me into my world, man. So, man, it was
Yeah.
an experience like no other.
Well, you definitely found your niche now and you found where you belong in this world. We'll talk about that some more. But there's a couple of cool things what you said with the MMA that I think will be very cool. So you knocked the guy out in 4 seconds. That is wild, man. I mean, I knew you had some
You know,
fast ones. Yeah, I mean, I knew you had some fast ones, but that is next level. And I also meant to ask you as well, with the bullying thing, is one other thing I want to mention to give people value with that is obviously going into the gym, going from bullied to like being a fighter, it's a massive step. I mean, not just physically, but mentally, because bullying relies on intimidation and sort of, making people submit to that sort of intimidation. And to be a fighter, you have to go toe to toe, you have to go head to head and break through that like go from one opposite to another, if you get what I'm saying, to be able to do that. I mean, how did you do that mentally in the beginning? Because you mentioned the fear and the nerves, and you mentioned that you overcame that. And I think that's really inspiring, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people struggle with like the anxiety and this type of thing in this day and age. How did you overcome that bit specifically in those early days?
yeah, you got to get to that point in the mind where you got to say, this is enough. I'm done being that bully. I'm done being that victim. And you got to stand up for yourself. And that's where I felt like that mentality came in where, you know what? I'm tired of being belittled. I'm tired of being in that corner. And I was tired of just always getting beat down and like always being pushed to that point where everybody's just laughing at me. And then those feelings inside where it's just like you just feel so down, like I don't want to be here anymore. And it's just when I got to that point where I'm like, all right, I got my mohawk. This is where it is. Like I'm making that step. I got to step up to the plate now. I got to start doing things and different things. I started researching as far as like fighters, YouTube and stuff. I watched a lot of animes coming up. So I got a lot of inspiration from Goku, Dragon Ball Z, One Man Punch, Naruto, and these other guys, you know what I mean, as far as like anime, movies, and different sagas and stuff. So I always try to put myself in that. I'm that hero. I want to be that guy coming out. Oh, that was me that got kicked in, when I was down there. Now I can be that one that steps up and saves people. And like I've always kind of related to those roles and that character. And like I actually applied it to life. And I actually went out there and I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. People laugh at me already anyways. Why not? And it's like I went out there and I did it. And it's working, man. I'm out here doing it. I'm living the dream that I never knew I could live. I'm actually doing like the movie-like stuff. I'm living the movie-like stuff now. Like as far as to my knowledge, you know what I mean? Like I've never been thousands of people trying to come up to me, hey, let me get a picture with you, inspiring little kids, you know what I mean? And having other fans come up that, people that you normally would kind of like veer away from because, you see them with the bandanas or that intimidating look, that kind of thug look, like, oh, this guy looks like he's about to do something, or something like that, or he's going to try to beat me up. And then now seeing all that love coming in from the crowd, it's a different aspect of it. And it's something that I never would have ever thought of, until now I put the work in and now I'm really actually experiencing now being on the other side of the gun now, and seeing that inspiration and like seeing those people come up to me and they were in the same shoes as I was, and it's just I feel like I took that step forward outside of that shell and like I left a lot of people behind. And like now when I look up to them now, and it's like I actually look up to them because honestly, it's like if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been there. And if it wasn't for them pushing me to that point, the bullies and all the nagging and the making fun of and all that kind of pushed me into breaking that shell and like becoming who I am today. You know what I mean? And chasing that betterness, chasing that, oh, I want to be great. I want to be legendary. That was what kind of pushed me into that aspect, and I'm doing it now, man. And it's like I never would have thought it. I never would have thought, you know what I mean? And you actually do the work, if you actually try and take that first step in front of 10,000 steps, the 9,999 of them are rest are easy. They just come right over, right back, back, back. And it's just like you don't even notice it. And it's an amazing journey. And it's like now I'm here now and we're doing it, baby. We're doing it, man. And it is awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's exhilarating, it's goosebump like, man, and it's just like no other, man. It's an emotion that I never knew was there. And I'm doing it now, man. I'm living it, I'm loving it, and I'm experiencing it all, and I'm ready to do more, baby.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, there's so many things in that story. It just blows you away, man. Everything. I mean, the bullying, but not only that, like even little things like coming back from those losses in MMA. Not giving up at that point because a lot of people would have given up at that point. I think that's amazing as well. I mean, there's so many things, but let's talk about bare knuckle because that's what you're known for now. I mean, was it for you like love at first sight? I mean, when you were in there with the gloves off, was it as easy a transition as it looked like for you? Was it just natural to you in the beginning, or was there a little bit of adaptation there, type of thing?
Man, it was just like throwing a fish into water, man. It was like throwing a fish or rather a shark into the water because as soon as I went in, I knew for a second, I was like, oh, I don't got to worry about him trying to take me down. Oh, this is where it really stands now. I can stand and bang with these guys. And man, that first bare knuckle fight was like, no, I got thrown to the wolves. They thought because I was coming off of 1-3, you know what I mean? I was a 1-3 pro fighter coming off. I'm gonna be a wash-up fight, easy fight for these other guys. They didn't know how hungry I was. Oh, I was hungry. I was ready to strive towards that nice little that achievement, that goal, and it's like being denied 3 times back to back. And it's like I spent my rent money. You know what I mean? On trying to go into camps and thinking, all right, I'm gonna just get my money back from the fight. I know just showing up, I'll get a little bit of decent of cash, So I was like, all right, might as well try it. Then I fight week come up, promotion to ghost me. I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm ready. I'm fight ready. but it was because of those three losses back to back. The commissioners weren't letting it go through. So then, like I said, when I didn't have to worry about punching these guys and you get taken down, oh man, that was just like bread and butter, man. I was just like, let's go. There was nobody that was going to be stopping me from achieving that goal, and I was coming up. There was still a lot of things that try to stop that fight from happening, from like not having the right shoe size, not having the funds to even be able to drive out there and make it happen, let alone the vehicle to make it out there. So it was like that transition was a little rough, but when I got there, oh, it's so perfect. It feels so perfect, and I knew this was gonna be my world. And that's when I knew that first fight coming out. I forgot how many. I think it was like in front of 6 million watching. 6 million viewers were watching, I believe, that night live. And there was thousands in attendance as well. It was in the Liberty Arena in Omaha, Nebraska. And I ended up getting a viral knockout, man. I knocked out the guy bottom 14th, I believe. And we came out with one of the fastest knockouts after the bell. As soon as they said knuckle up, boom, boom, I was in there, man. And I dropped that man like a sack of potatoes. And I was like, wow, once again, I did something I didn't know I could do. And I listened to the coach. He told me chamber my shoulder, and I chambered the shoulder, and I went out there and I put everything that I normally love doing into that one shot. I just imagined my hand going straight through his face, and boom, baby, we had our hands raised at the end of the night with the viral knockout, ready to come home with that win, man. It was so awesome. It was so exhilarating. It was an experience like no other. And that's when I knew this was going to be my world.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's incredible, and it's incredible to watch the fight and then to hear it firsthand from you, and I'm saying that, but obviously our listeners as well. On the build up to the fight, as well as physically training, do you prepare your mind for it? Like as you said earlier about changing your thought patterns and stuff, do you visualize and do that type of thing? Like you said about imagining your hand going through his face, do you like visualize these knockouts before they happen or anything of
Oh
that
yeah.
type of thing?
Oh yeah. See, I like to do a lot of mental. A lot of this mental. A lot of people don't understand in this game. It's like if you can't beat those mental hurdles where it's like, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to do this workout anymore. Oh my God, there's a lot of people here. I don't think I can do this. The spotlights, and then you start feeling the warmth, and then everybody's coming up to you. Then you get hit with the paperwork, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? It's like you get to that point where I would feel it's just like you gotta just go out there, man. You just go out there with one step in front of the other because it's like I never knew I was gonna be here, and I never experienced any of this. And it's like being able to, I would say, like being able to like do that little bit of new world type stuff, being able to get in there. And it's like it's the whole different ball game, man. It's hard to explain and it's hard to put into words because it's just like it was a whole new experience for me too. So it's just I'm still trying to take everything in, man. I'm still trying to take everything in right now.
And as well as that, I mean, let's talk about some of your other favorite moments from your bare knuckle journey so far, because obviously the knockouts and things are amazing. But when you're in there, I mean, there's bound to be other things that you've experienced that stay with you, like you said about the crowds, and you said about like people coming up to you for photos and these sorts of other things, even things that people don't see just from watching the fight, if you get what I mean. So let's talk about a few other of your favorite memories, your favorite moments from your bare knuckle journey so far in your own words, please, whatever they may be, whatever form they take.
Honestly, my favorite moments is like when we put that hard work in, and then I go and I see all the little kids that have been watching up to that point, and I see they come up to me, hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, can you sign my shoes? Or hey, can you give me a autograph on the shirt? And they're like, hey, you're my hero, or hey, keep up the good work. I see everything that you're doing, and it's like when I get to go and experience that, that's when I get to feel that different currency. I get paid in a different currency, which is an emotion that I never knew was there. Being able to see that inspiration in their eyes, be like, wow, he's really doing this. Like he's actually really like chasing the dream and he's actually putting in the work and he's actually here. And it's like seeing those kids being able to see that it's true, that the dream is actually there, that they really do it, and seeing that somebody else like them is actually doing it, that's what really brings that inspiration to me. And that's what motivates me to kind of get in there. Like my favorite moments in like and puts a smile on my face to see the little people kind of get that inspiration. You know what I mean? They get that vision. That's what they like. Me being able to accomplish my goals and be able to accomplish my dreams, it gets me to be able to see and show these other people, hey, that dream is still there. That if you achieve it or if you work for it, you can achieve it. You can actually do the work and be a living example and show these kids, look, I'm here. If I'm here, you can be here because I was in your shoes too. And I know if I'm doing it, you can do it. So it's like I was that short, fat kid that everybody was always pushing around. And I know if I was that little short, fat kid and you're in a better position than I am now, I know that person could do it. You know what I mean? And it's just a matter of them actually making that decision to really going forward with what they want to do and being able to be an inspiration to people's dreams has been what's really driven me to be able to accomplish mine and being able to be that example and show these guys, look, we're doing it, baby. We are here, and this is what it is to do the freaking dream, man, the road to success. And I'm here, and like I'm doing it, and we're here, baby. Like being able to see that people been giving the credit to the people where it's due, you know, like the people that host the shows. You know, for being able to put our story out there, which I'm so honored to be able to be here, you know, like being able to give those staff members, the guys, the DJs, the people who run the lights, the cameramen, you know what I mean? Those people don't get enough credit. That's why even after all my fights, those are the first ones I used to go up to. Hey, thank you guys so much for making this happen. I appreciate you. They're just looking at me like, did you just come and say hi? And it's like, I know you've been standing here for hours, man. Like, I appreciate everything you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. You don't get enough credit. And being able to see their faces when they see that ordinary people too, what they think are like superstars, but I'm just an ordinary man just trying to chase a dream and being able to show them like, hey, I'm just like you. You know, I appreciate you and I thank you for everything you do and chase your dreams too. And you be in the same position and being able to see them be like, wow, he's fucking right. Or excuse my language, but I mean he's right. And it's like we should definitely be doing this. You know what I mean? Like maybe I should. It gives them that little bit of hope, that little tiny bit of hope that wow, maybe I can achieve this goal if I just actually try it. He can do it. I know he's a chip off the old block. If he can do it, maybe I can do it. You know, and that's what kind of gives me that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a big part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you today because you represent that. Obviously, being a amazing fighter, being an exciting fighter, being a rising star, and the knockouts and all of that stuff. But it's also like what you represent as a human being, what you represent by doing what you're doing. You know, you represent these things to people, you show people, and as you get bigger in the fight game and you win more things and you win belts and stuff, that message is only going to spread more. And I believe that I mean, you mentioned praying earlier, you know, and I believe that God put you in that position, if you like, or, you know, it's manifest through you to reach people, you know, and everything like this. And yeah, I mean, that was a big part of the reason for my reaching out. So it's absolutely amazing to spread that message. Now, obviously, a couple of other things about bare knuckle specifically, and then we'll get to the future. You have, this is one for the fans, you know, other fighters will know this, but you've obviously been hit with an MMA glove and with a bare fist. Does being hit with a bare fist hurt more? Is there more of a like a pain barrier that you have to push through? I mean, obviously you get people out of there, so I don't know how much this applies. But when you do have a shot land on you, does it hurt more than an MMA glove?
Man, I'll tell you this, it is definitely a different ballgame. When you're in the MMA side of things, you feel more safe. You feel more safe, but when you're in the bare knuckle, you got that instinct where it's like, listen, if I get touched, I might die. It's like so it gets to a different it puts you in a different mindset to be able to take a different kind of pain because when your adrenaline's rushing in there and you're constantly thinking mindset is like, all right, I'm locked in. I have to get him. Where is he gonna hit me? I have to be on my toes. I gotta let my combinations go and not get hit. When you're in there trying to think that process through, it takes you to a whole different discipline and it takes you to a whole different mindset to where you're in a fight with yourself to keeping your composure and keeping your mind focused on that one target or on that one specific mission, which is to win that fight. So being in that aspect, you kind of have to break it down to where, all right, am I in a clear state of mind to be able to endure this pain? Am I in a clear state of mind to be able to take this punch? Or is it going to be, am I in this mindset to, am I going to take this punch or am I going to die? You know what I mean? And it's like, it gives you a different sense of adrenaline, I would say, because when I was in MMA, I was always constantly go, 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 go. But I had that small sense of safeness that I got gloves on. This is going to be not that bad of a hit. Bare knuckle, you get tagged, it's like, boom, everything goes white. If you ain't ready for it, you don't know what side of the ring you're on. It's a squared circle, so you're like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? And it's like you gotta start fighting to push past those big blows because it's not just a flash of whiteness and pressure. Now it's you got that flash of whiteness, pressure, and it's getting hot from leaking because you're bleeding. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're gonna be bleeding, and then like the MMA, it takes quite a bit of more power and a little bit more of that right angle to be able to split somebody or to really cause somebody to really panic and get into that state of mind. So I would say that bare knuckle is it's a bit more dangerous because of the fact of when you get hit, you got that sense of being cut. And when you get cut, it takes you to a different critical mindset as far as your adrenaline rushing. So you don't necessarily feel as much pain, but it gets you to a different mindset to think, okay, I'm injured now. It's do or die. Now it's do or die. Am I going to survive this, or am I going to drown in my, or am I going to drown in my, in my sorrows and stuff like that? Like as far as that breakdown mentality coming in, or you push through that and you gotta look past those popping of that bright pressure, bright pressure. When you get tagged, it's not just it's not just pressure anymore. It's splitting and cutting now. It's not just white pressure anymore. It's just you get that hit, and then you got to worry about the leaking, and then that leaking. When you feel that blood, it takes you to a whole different mindset and a whole different instinct.
Absolutely amazing insight into it. I mean, obviously the other fighters will know, but the fans they always want to know about that. So a couple of other things. Do you train bare knuckle then, or do you train with like MMA gloves on or something like that?
Yeah, I do. I try to do a lot of things different, man. Like I do. I sometimes I go punching the wall, and I'll go start punching the wall. I'll go punch the dirt, I'll go start punching sand. Um, I do a lot of different styles as far as like getting the knuckles together. I do the bare knuckle pad work as well. Try to get that mentality of having that squeezing of the hands without the wraps or the gloves on, or being able to just kind of keep your hands in the boxing gloves and just kind of try to tag and just loosely hit. Like no, when you train without the gloves and you train bare knuckle, you have to learn how to keep your fist closed. Otherwise, it's going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt, or you're going to hurt somebody else as far as like the person you're training with. And I can honestly say, man, it's definitely a little different because you got to be more careful and you got to be more, I would say, picky with your types of workout as far as conditioning for your wrist or conditioning for the knuckle. I need to start doing just straight pad work and just hitting the bags. Because I hit the bag sometimes bare knuckle. And I'll go and I can't hit it as hard, you know what I mean? But I'll just tag it, just trying to get technical, see how quick I can go with being technical before I lose my form. And in that aspect, I feel like that also helps you kind of keep your composure and stay disciplined because now I'm able to pick and choose my damage shots. Now I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. I'm tagging with bare knuckle. And then I'm like, all right, this one's coming in hot. Boom. And I can really start feeling and breaking that difference in down now. And like taking the gloves off has brought that into my arsenal because before I would never think that. I'm just, oh, I can just throw the gloves. They're just there anyway to protect me. I can just throw. No, now with the bare knuckle, I have to clench them properly. I have to be in there with proper technique. Otherwise, you end up getting off the game for a little bit.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. It's an amazing insight into it. Let's talk about the future. I mean, obviously, your future in the game is very, very bright, and I don't mind how far ahead in time you want to take this. I mean, you said earlier about being champion of the world, and that's your long-term aim. But I mean, we can talk about this in terms of like the next couple of fights you've got on the horizon. We can talk about it a couple of years from now. I mean, this bit is up to you how far you want to take it, but let's just hear about your future dreams from here because, like I said before, I've caught you on the up and up. The sky's the limit. So, where do you see yourself in, however far you want to take it down the road, basically?
Well, listen, man, I'm gonna mop the floor with the 205 division, and I have nothing that's gonna stop me. I know that I'm just touching my potential now. I will be world champion. It's only a matter of time. I'm thinking probably one more knockout, another knockout after that, and I could probably prove to them that I am one of the top contenders to get a shot at that title. So maybe within three, maybe four more fights, I will be the world champion. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then as far as once I get that strap, I will be the people's champion that they've actually really needed, somebody that's actually going to finally get back to the people because I've seen these other champions that go, they make it, they just fall right off. They forget about where they came from. And it's like, I'm here to build where I started. I'm doing this because of where I came from. So why just leave that when I get to where I gotta go? And now that's where I want to give back. Like my whole journey has been giving back to the community, giving back to the veterans, all the veterans that made all of this possible. Then the cancer patients, once I started realizing that they're the true champions of this world, because their fight is a all different ballgame than what we're doing. And like my last fight, like I took a stage 4 oral cancer survivor with me, all paid took his ticket, paid his ticket and everything, took him down there with us and got experience. And I've dedicated the fight to him and the veterans. So we were able to deliver on that aspect too. And like that was woo, that was a whole different emotion right there in itself, man. And being able to deliver that for the people and for him, it was a whole new inspiration. And that's why I know for a fact, once I make it to the top, I know I will be that champion that the world needs that's going to be able to help different communities, help those other people that really don't know what they're doing in life or really don't know that path to take to start a journey that will be epic for them, or not only for them, their families too, because this has not only helped me on my journey, this has helped the people around me. And it's shown some of the other family members that I have across the world and across the countries like, look, ordinary people off the block, man, come out here and start chasing the dream and do the work and be accomplishing it, man. And we're out here really doing it, man.
Amazing. Last couple of things, and then we'll wrap this up shortly because it's a good length for people to sort of take everything in. Then about 45 minutes because, like I said to you before, we'll do this again when you're at the top of the mountain. But in the meantime, a couple of things. I mean, anyone else you'd like to thank, the people you'd like to thank who have contributed to your journey, helped you, because we talked earlier about obviously the bullies and those people giving you the fuel in a way, even though it seemed negative at the time. But people who have actually come to help you, sponsors, coaches, family members, anybody really. It doesn't matter what form it takes, but just anyone that you would like to give a shout out to, please, champ. That would be amazing.
I would love to give a shout out to all the dream chasers out there who really don't have that inspiration. You know what I mean? Like, listen, we're out here doing it. You guys can do it. If I'm out here doing it, get out there and start chasing that dream. A huge shout out to the veterans also that made all this possible for all of us. And then huge shout out to all the cancer patients out there who are in the true fight, that are actually out there doing this for their families and being able to have the cards dealt to them and still be able to play the game like that. Like stay in the fight, stay true. And then again, you guys, thank you so much for you having us and putting me out there and being able to put this message out there. Because like I said, this is only the beginning. I'm gonna be changing the world one day. And thank you to my sponsors too, Reserve Marketing, Grand Rapids. I got J&J Construction as well. If you guys need anything built, we got you, man. From any type of housing to any roofs to any construction, any kind of landscaping you need water features, we got you. And then JP Quality Service, heating and cooling as well. Those guys, if you guys are cold out there, you need any kind of work on your house as far as heating and cooling, we got you there as well. And then, of course, also my wife, my manager, the one who makes everything happen, keeps everything way and keeps me sane. My coaches, Calvin Harbaugh, Robert Gidron, these guys have been helping me. Eric Lozano, too, is another BKFC fighter. He's been out there doing his thing, and we've been all out here chasing the dream, man, and we're out here doing it. Stay true, because I'm telling you, when it gets hardest, that's when you're the closest. So do not give up when it comes down to where you think everything is falling apart around you. That only means that you're closer and closer to the dreams that you wanted, and embrace that uncomfortable, because when you embrace that uncomfortable, it makes you into the prime example, the prime perfect spot to grow. When you go and you embrace them uncomfortable locations and those uncomfortable feelings and emotions, you start to learn and build a callus and learn how to live with it and be in there. So don't give up. Keep on working hard. Stay true. I promise you everything's gonna be okay.
An amazing message, champ. I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, as you say, yeah, amazing life lesson, pushing through the hard times, getting comfortable in the uncomfortable, getting outside your comfort zone. Yeah, man. I mean, it starts falling apart when you get bigger because you're changing as a person and you're growing. So you no longer fitting with where you came from. You're fitting with where you're going to and the person you're becoming. It's a very powerful lesson. I want to thank you so much for your time, first and foremost. But as well as that, more importantly than that, I want to thank you so much for sharing the message of hope, inspiration, positivity, and being a total open book, with myself, with our audience. I will say to our audience as well, for anyone who's not following this man on social media, you need to do that as well. Go and find him on Instagram, go and find him on the social media outlets because, like I've already said earlier, for our audience, at what Esteban is doing is getting bigger and it's getting, he's growing. And I've been around a lot of champions in my time. I know what I'm looking at when I see a champion. As long as they stay on the right path and they don't get distracted, we can go right to the top. And you're one of those guys. So keep up the good work and just thank you for your time, man. And God bless you. I really appreciate you sharing this message because it's not about me. It's about getting the hope out there to basically, show people not to give up and show people more than that, that they can not just survive, but they can thrive and they can be the best version of
Yeah.
themselves that they can be. So yeah, man, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
And then another thing too, actually, before I go, I am in the process of building a Team Mohawk MMA ranch that's going to be given back to the community. It's going to be like a dojo. I'm actually in the land here right now. I'm in the process of building that. It's going to be like a small camp for anybody, like 3 weeks that anybody would want to get into shape or into an intense, I would say, shape, form, or fitness, because this is going to be the basic fundamentals. It's going to be camping. It's going to be something that's going to be able to drive anybody in a position that wants to do any competing. It's going to be able to put them in a position where they can bring the true self out of them, the true potential, and the intense training that I normally do for my training as far as my high output. And I'm in the process as well. I built my own website, teammohawkmma.com, and I'm going to be starting a blog post here soon that's going to be helping people that are going through suicidal problems. It's going to be helping the veterans going through PTSD, people who are going through any withdrawals or any problems of addictions like that. There's going to be other people that have been through those kind of situations that are going to be able to help as well. And I'm still in the process of getting that up and running, but that's going to be coming here soon too in 2024, man, to be able to help those people achieve those goals and be able to help smooth things out for them as well.
Oh, that is amazing, champ. That is amazing work. I'm really glad we got to give that a mention. And again, I'll say to our audience, guys, like I said, plug into what this man is doing because obviously you'll be announcing all this on your social media so people can join up, they can help, and everything. Absolutely amazing. Helping people is the highest thing, in my opinion, that we can aim for in life. It's like the highest standard. So I think it's absolutely incredible the work you're doing. Keep it up. You are a light in the darkness, my friend. Absolutely. I'll send this to you as soon as I release it as well, so that you can share it as well and everything, and I'll release it my side, and we'll just keep spreading the message, of hope and
Yeah,
positivity and everything. And that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. So God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much again. Thank you so, so much. And I'll be in touch very soon, and I'll be cheering for you in your next fights as well. 100%.
you don't want to miss it. It's gonna be a fucking banger, man. I'm telling you, it's coming soon. So buckle up and don't blink.
Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.